Hello everybody and welcome to another Galaxy of Heroes video. Today I'm actually going to be just talking about my philosophy on spending in this game, why I don't spend mostly, but also what I do think has good value in the game, where I get my enjoyment from the game, my circumstances that got me into the habit of not spending in the game, stuff like that. I'm also going to look at my old account that was 100% for free to play before I got this account, because while I've never spent money on the game, this, as you can see, this is in yellow, so that means this is a hyperdrive account. If you haven't heard me talk about it in any other videos or in comments or anything, I actually got this, I inherited this account in May 2020. It was about 3.9 million GP, and as you can see, I've come a long way since then, over 6.26 million more. At the time I got it, it had no Galactic Legends. And it took me 3 months after I got it to get Galactic Legends. And basically the only character that it had I didn't have at the time was General Skywalker, and I was getting close. So I'm actually going to pull up my old account from my allies list. And here it is in all its glory, nestled between a couple of players that haven't logged on in a long time and quit. Yeah, you can see my ally code, and I'm not full, but don't request me unless you have a specific reason to, because I'm probably going to turn it down. But yeah, I gave myself the tag before I left Prodigal Knight, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm piecing out of this account and never coming back, so it's a cool title for it. I did have the Kyber Contender tag on this account, so I wish I kind of left it there, but I haven't logged in. I hadn't logged in 1,071 days, so that's how long I've had my current account, 1,071 days. I never logged back into this account because I kind of wanted it to be a timer of when that happened. And I was at 2.85 million at that point. I was a year and 2 months into the game, and I hadn't spent a cent in the game. And I actually had a fair amount of relics. Now, relics came out in, I think, September 2019, and I made this account in March 2019. So I had a fair bit of relics in that, like, 8 months that this account was active while relics were out. First relic was Grandmaster Yoda, second Jolie, I think third was Fives, and I'll get into that in a second. But I'm getting sidetracked. While I'm looking at this account, I'll talk more about why I don't spend. So first of all, in real life, I'm cheap. I'm a cheap person. I'm not cheap with my wife, or I try not to be, or I'm not cheap with things that we need to have. But if it's not something I need, it's just something I kind of want, I just don't really buy it. I don't buy many video games. Even though I love them, I usually buy them on sale. Like Civilization 6, I love it, but I bought it on like a fire sale on Steam. And usually any game I buy is a few years old. I don't buy stuff new. I have like a lot of sticker shock on things. I'm like, $70 for a game, outrageous. But you know, $70 if you were to spend it in this game wouldn't get you far at all. So that's one thing. I'm very price sensitive. And it's not that I'm poor, it's just like, I just look at so many things and think that's not worth it. Now that's not the reason I didn't spend in the beginning. I mean, I was always cheap, but when I started playing this account, I was in law school and I didn't have any income, and I was a first year, so I had 2 more years ahead of me, and it's like, okay, I need to conserve my funds and be really choosy how I use money in this time, so definitely not going to use it on a mobile game. And my thought at that point was, I thought it was outrageous, outlandish to spend money in this game, but my mind has changed since then. I think there are good reasons for people to spend. It's a big trade-off with time. If you're strapped for time, you still want to play the game, spending is a great substitute for grinding. Not everyone loves grinding so much. So that's one reason too. And if you have tons of disposable income, if you're a rich person, it's like, the amount of money that things cost means less to you than someone that is just working a 9 to 5 and living paycheck to paycheck. So at the time I started, it would have been irresponsible to spend, and while right now it wouldn't be totally irresponsible to spend or buy things like the Conquest patch, which is great value, or $10 packs here and there. The only real thing, I'm going to go to my normal account for a second, the only real thing that I would feel a big boost from is new characters. Like here, I'm farming Tusken Chieftain. I'm already at 4 stars. They're 47 to 65, so I feel like I'm making good progress. But And I'd like to have like Cal and Tarful, I guess. I don't know. I haven't really looked much into him. But I'd love to have Cal and Seer Junda built up more. I'd love to have what's her face? Where's the Night Sister? Love to have Marin. I'd love to have her. And the only reason I would need them at 7 stars is because that's what gates in Gear 12 and relics and everything, and that's where they're useful. But it's just the price point is way too high. If you get one of these packs, I mean, it tricks people. It kind of lures you in. It's $12.99, and it's like, oh, you could get 330 shards. And did they always show these probabilities right here? I thought they used to make you click for it, so it's probably better. It's probably some kind of law in California passed or something. But it's only a 0.1% chance for 330 shards. What you see most of the time, and Arnold does all these pack openings, I'm actually really grateful that he does that. It's a great first look at a character for the whole community, and I'm really glad someone is fulfilling that role and that he can make it work. But it's like $300 to unlock one character to 7 stars, and it's not even guaranteed that it's going to be super meaningful. Like, to unlock Seer, or to finish off Seer, Cal, and Marin before like shipments and stuff, it'd be like close to $1,000, and it's just a ripoff. And not to say that there aren't things that are worth it. Like, one thing that'd be worth it if I were to spend it at all, I'd probably be buying this Conquest Pass, because it doesn't look like much right up front, but you get the shards of whatever the new thing is, get some data cache, you get a lot of gear, you get some Omicrons, but the main advantage is you get 20 shards of the new character or ship. So in this case, a Fury Class Interceptor, and that lets you use all the Conquest currency you would have spent on that, and you can just buy gear and signal data and other stuff. So it was good value, and not everything's a ripoff. I think it was pretty smart of them to make this pass because they can capture a lot of spending from low spenders on a regular basis. So that was kind of a good idea. But the big joy of the game to me is in resource management. It's trying to utilize everything you have to the fullest, squeeze out every last drop of value. Like right here, this is kind of sloppy for me. I'm at 142 out of 144. If I ever hit 144 and I start losing value on my energy, I don't know. I have a disproportionate response to it in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, I wasted so much, even though it's not a big deal. But yeah, I value it, and I also kind of like having some kind of disadvantage. Like in Grand Arena, I feel like I'm able to compete very well, even without spending. And I like facing big spenders when I'm not a spender. This is my current opponent. It's actually a rematch from last week. Lacy Basie, 12.5 million GP. And got basically everything. Tarful, they're working on it. Not quite there, but as you can see, they in the arena squad had Cal. They have Seer Junda. They got everything. And when I'm fully caught up, even as a non-spender, I kind of don't really have anything to point at to be like, oh yeah, they have. Oh, I don't have this. They're actually because of this. If I had everything the same, I'd feel like I'm not punching up as much, and punching up is kind of the fun in GAC. And Datacrons really helped me a lot with that, but I don't without spending, you can't get as much as these people get. They get tons of Datacrons. So I kind of like being the underdog, and especially like in the beginning when I was just starting a completely new account, it was just such a rush whenever I unlocked something new. Like when I was playing this account and coming up through, a lot of things were different. There was no journey guide. So a lot of newer players might be in shock from that. It's like, well, what did you do? The events would happen seasonally. Every 3 months or 4 months, it'd come back. And you just had to be ready when that came back. And you didn't even know when until like a week before. I don't know if they announced it in the event calendar for the month, but it was like, oh, I think CLS is coming back. CLS came back at the 4-month mark of my account, and I was barely able to unlock it. Palpatine, I was like 2 months in or something, and I was able to unlock him at 5 stars. But it wasn't just you could be flexible and go in whenever and just unlock him. And like even that time constraint, it was kind of hard to work with, but it was kind of fun for me. It was like, okay, it was just an added layer of complexity and challenge. It was like, okay, I gotta plan this out, and I could plan it out better than mostly anyone on my shard. There was one player that was head and shoulders above the pack. He never lost Grand Arena. He was completely free to play, and he got #1 rewards since like month 4 or something. He got Generate Revenue in like 4 months, something crazy. I didn't like my Generate Revenue at 7 months, and I just got a kick out of planning for it. I had already planned for all the gear he was going to need to get to gear 12 when I unlocked him, and it was hard to get that because gear wasn't double drops. There also weren't double drops on character shards, like, well, Yoda, you can't farm Yoda. But like here, Anakin, when you... Can I not do find? Oh no, it's on my account. I can't hit the find function. But you weren't gonna get 2 shards of an old character. You're gonna get 1 at a time. So it took a long time. It was just really hard to plan things out. You just had to be ready at the right time. And it was an inconvenience, but I don't know. It just seemed to work for me, and it gave me an excuse to kind of like build up for it. Like I think now with the journey guide, sometimes if you unlock it right away, you're like, okay, now what do? I don't have enough resources for stuff. So I kind of like that staggering through it. And then also, I mentioned earlier, Fives was like my 3rd relic character. And it's not because I thought he was the 3rd best character I had. It's just because he had a disproportionate impact in raids with this Zeta. I didn't have to relic up all the 501st. I just had to relic up him. And then when he'd sacrifice, he'd give us health, protections, and speed and offense to the whole team. And I had a relic 6 5s, so pumping up my... what did I have 501st in this account? They weren't built... Okay, I had started to build them up, actually. But I had like Gear 9 Rex, Gear 8 Echo, Gear 8 Arc, but they were still just crazy because they had all of 5's stats. And I was able to get tens of millions in the Sith raid. And that was before soloing was a thing. That was before Galactic Legends, and I was able to get top 10, top 5 rewards every time, and that helped accelerate me more. So just finding every advantage you can to exploit without spending money, that was really the name of the game for me. And personally, since I've been operating under these constraints for so long, if I were to start becoming a casual spender and like even once in a while getting vaults or something, it's hard to justify $100 for 15,700 crystals when I've gotten close to that amount on my own just in like a month or so. But also, it would just kind of cheapen the accomplishment for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's great that some people spend. We really need people to spend. But it would kind of cheapen the experience for me. Another example of this happening that doesn't even involve real money. So another game I played... I love RPGs, and I played this game, Dragon Age Origins. I'm sure plenty of people have played it. It came out in 2009. There was this loop in the game, this cheat, where if you hit like the 2 buttons at the same time on your Xbox controller while selling something, you get the money for selling it, but you'd still have the items. So you could essentially have infinite funds like that. And I got frustrated at one point going through because I kept seeing all these expensive items I couldn't get, but then I just cheesed and got all the extra money. And that wasn't stealing or anything, because it's a single player closed loop game, but it really just killed my desire to play. I was like working towards unlocking that tome or that armor. That was like a real great goal to pursue. Just like right now, I love waiting as soon as I get a character to 7 stars and I can knock them up to relics. Give them all their stuff. It's a great feeling. It's like a nice payoff. And if I'm able to like cheat past that, not cheat, but like circumvent that process, it really takes a lot of the enjoyment of the game out for me. Because while I do love competitive play, if it weren't such a great resource management game, I wouldn't be playing it as much as I do. I kind of want to harp on the bad value of stuff again just for a second. Let me find something. Like a gear pack. Yeah, like one of these, it's just so hard to parse out the value, because like, okay, yes, this is $20, they're giving you all these things. Let me move myself for a second. Oh, you're getting 100 of this, and you're getting 50 of this, but for this, I have, okay, that's the one I have the least of, but I have 224, and there's only 3 characters in my whole roster that even need it. This is like if things were way more concentrated, if it was like, okay, 200... 300 Cairo Tech, that'd be better. But this, it's just... They threw us a bone and doubled the gear, but They killed a lot of incentive to spend on like gear and stuff like this, and this one was, well, 0. This one would be nice, but it's like all these packs just have this noise of things that you don't need. Like this is the one, it's 650. I'm never gonna need more of that. That's valuable. This actually getting a little low on that. So I'm kind of undermining my own point here. But like you really would just need really focused thing. Oh, here, tarp was the thing. Like if you don't know anything about the game, if I like showed this pack to someone like my brother that never has played this game, and I'm like, okay, what do you think of this for 20 bucks? He'd be like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And then I'd be like, all this is useless. All of this is entirely useless. The only thing is this 30 shards. This is the only reason people buy this. And that's only like less than 10% of the whole character unlock. Or to finish off. It's just such bad value. That being said, again, I think it's great that people spend to keep the game alive. The game needs a healthy balance of spenders and free players. Free players to make up the bulk of the game and to provide challenges and theory crafting and a lot of stuff to the community. And then spenders to just present like the pinnacle of the game, what you can get, and to keep the game going. Funding at 12.5 million, like it's just crazy. So I'm getting close to finishing. That's pretty much all my thoughts on it. I don't think there's anything wrong with spending, but for me, like, I'm so cheap, and I just feel like I don't need the spending as much, and it would kill some of my enjoyment if I did do it. So those are mainly the reasons I don't spend. I feel like this has kind of been more of a rambling video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to thumb up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'd love to hear your perspective on things in the comments. I really do enjoy reading those comments, especially when people put some thought into it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.